Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Couch Potato Queen Survivor Australian Outback Recap. I'm your host, Josh Mendelson, and I'm here with...
And I'm your other host, Sam Meier. Josh, thank you so much for taking the lead on this. As you know, I am working on a short film right now. That is one of my main gigs. I am a filmmaker. So I appreciate all the help in this very busy time for me.
Oh, you're very welcome, Sam. In fact, Survivor is my favorite, so I don't have a problem now. I get to be the queen of the show. It's great.
You have an encyclopedic knowledge. It is truly breathtaking.
Honestly, it's so much fun. And I will be periodically with Sam Henson, our new member of the Couch Potato Queen family. So it's going to be fun. So yeah, he was on our episode yesterday. He was great. So really excited about that. But Sam, I know you'll be on periodically, and I know you're going to be slaying the Drag Race podcast. So.
I know, I'm super excited. That one's been a lot of fun. I'm obsessed with Drag Race.
And I'm obsessed with everything. So
it's how I learned how to be gay.
I love. All right. Well, today's episode is going to be covering episodes 7 and 8 of Australian Outback. So we have a lot to talk about today. We go over the merge. It's going to be fun. All right. So starting off the episode, we are at the Kucha camp. Michael Skupin was just medevaced. Secretly, we're happy about that.
I mean, as the name goes, convicted sex offender Michael Skupin.
Exactly. So convicted sex offender Michael Skupin was kicked. Well, not really kicked out. He was burned out. So good for him. All right. So Kucha's talking about strategy, that they need to go hard at the merge, stick together. So it's really what Mike wanted. So they're kind of like this whole like cult of the Mike Skupin cult. Like, we need to do this together. Elizabeth's saying Colby and Jerry need to go first. Jeff is calling Jerry a shrewd woman. They say Tina is loyal and Keith is most likely to turn. So they think Keith they could maybe get at the end. Kimmy also, we find out, apparently told Ogakor at the second reward challenge that Jeff had votes cast against him. That's Jeff claiming that. So Sam, what are your thoughts going into that?
I mean, they talk about it throughout the episode, but Kimmy throwing that out was really dangerous for Jeff Varner. I mean, that's one of the moments that really stood out to me, because the vibe at this point is sort of like, we're coming into the merge. Who has votes against them? Who, in the case of a tiebreaker, is the ideal target?
I know. And Jeff being so cocky, like, why is he so cocky when he has votes against him? I don't get it.
I mean, granted, like, one vote against you in the scheme of things is not a lot of votes. The only time it becomes a problem is when you're up against someone with 0 votes against them. Dun, dun, dun!
We'll see what happens. All right, so over on Ogakor, they're trying to figure out what happened on the Kucha camp. So Jerry's like, did Roger have a stroke? And they're just coming up with all these different assumptions. What could have it been? Playing the guessing game. Then Ogakor ladies, Amber and Jerry, get a tree mail that says boys night out. So they assume that the boys are going to be leaving Colby and Keith, going to Kucha, and then the boys from Kucha are going to be coming to them. Over on Kucha, though, they get a sign that says girls night out. So they're thinking that the girls are switching. So Ogakor is like, whatever. But Kucha, they're like preparing napkins. They're making it look all pretty for the girls, thinking the girls are going to come. But CBS and Mark Burnett do a little bit of shadiness, and they switch 2 girls with the 2 guys. So over on Ogakor, it's a lady session, and over on Kucha, it's a sausage fest. So always fun with that, Sam. What are your thoughts on that?
I have a few thoughts on this. First of all, I do think it was an intelligent strategy move on the part of producers to pair the guys with the guys, the girls with the girls, sort of give some room for some potential breaks in the alliance. Number 2, I think the only person on Ogakor who was happy, the only guy on Kucha that was happy about the boy swap was Jeff Varner. He talked a lot about Colby's teeth. Okay, he wanted to be in that mouth, and I know he wasn't out at the time, but I was living.
Oh, you know he wanted a little bit of the cold
Oh,
start.
he wanted a slice of the Colpster.
Ah!
And then the third point though that I want to make is that this swap most distinctly sets up Colby and Keith for a win. So we know that Ogakor has been starving, literally starving, and no one on Kucha, Keith, holds his own on Kucha, and Colby is just more of a threat than everyone. And so, from my opinion, if producers were trying to set up Colby for a win, if they wanted him to stay in the game for good reason, very charming, super attractive, like all American boy, good old Southern charm, this was the way to do it, was to set him up with a tribe that was or set him up in the position to get the best meal.
Got it. Okay, I like that. Yeah, because they were setting him up almost kind of like what we've heard about Kelly Wigglesworth in some ways in Borneo. I've talked to you one-on-one on that. We talked about in the last episode all the tea on Kelly, but it's almost like they wanted to set him up to win challenges. So that definitely makes sense.
I mean, or at least to give some competitive, like a little bit more of competitive advantage, or level the playing field a little bit. Now, I know that, of course, the merge feast happens after that, but I don't know that you eat food and then just like immediately have energy. I feel like getting better sleep and having that meal in them the day before is like, a more energizing effect.
Oh, for sure. And this season, the contestants end up being starving, which we will talk about in our next episode. But my favorite part of this is another Tina Wesson quote. I smell the blood of a Coochie tribe. It's a tie ball game.
She's so cute. I just want to put her in my pocket.
She's great. Her one-liners are like, they don't mean to be one-liners, but they just totally are, and it's incredible.
She just has that little extra sparkle.
Oh, for sure. But on the Ogakor tribe, I think on Kucha it's really self-explanatory. It's just the guys. Nothing special. They're not
they eat the last chicken.
They eat the last chicken. That's the most
drama-free bro fest.
You get Jeff talking about like how he's sad like the women didn't come, but he's happy to see Colby, like whatever. But on the girls, you get Jerry Manthe, the star of the show, being a biatch about Keith not having the matches. Apparently, Keith took the matches and left the ladies of Ogakor without them. So she's saying, I don't want to be talking about Keith in front of our guests while she's talking bad about Keith in front of the guests. So it's pretty funny. Tina's like, it's in Jerry's best interest not to show a hateful side. And yet Jerry loves to show a hateful side with her fabulous Jerry's tortillas and working it up. Sam, thoughts on Jerry?
Jerry is reaching peak hangry at this point. Okay. She has not had a good meal since the show started. Okay. So they've been out there, I don't know how long at this point, like 2 weeks.
It's been almost 3 weeks. So
almost 3 weeks.
Yeah. It's around 21 days.
And Jerry is hangry. She is very upset. And but I understand that place where she is so worn down physically, mentally, emotionally, that like there just isn't that capacity to hold it in anymore. Like where you get like the Sheen in LA, this is like for real Jerry.
Oh, she just needs a sandwich. That's what I've been saying is she's great if she has a sandwich or something to eat, but if she's hungry, watch out, everybody.
Watch out, world.
The bitch is back, okay? So the cool thing is they're, on their two tribes, and all of a sudden they get a map to a brand new camp, both tribes, and they have 5 minutes to gather whatever they have and head to a new location. So big twist, last season they were able to go to one of the other camp, but this season they're going to a whole new camp. So everyone's like totally panicked. They have to get their stuff and get out. They get their stuff. They go on another walk or hike to this new camp location. And they get there, there's a crate with an orange flag, new color tribe. The tribe's name is Barramundi. Don't know where they got it. After the fish, there you go. And Elizabeth screams, they open the crate and it's food and wines. They get their, what they call a merge feast for back in the day. Wasn't the same merge feast as they have in today's seasons, but let's just call it a feast.
Close enough. There was like a charcuterie board and a couple bottles of wine.
Yeah, I mean the bottles of wine were probably that's probably why Elizabeth is screaming. I mean,
And
come
I'm
on.
sure some Mountain Dew because we've been seeing a lot of Doritos and Mountain Dew, which is like very that era. Like it's such an aesthetic.
It is.
I'm obsessed.
All I want, me, Tina Weston, is a Dorito chip.
A Dorito, you get one Dorito chip and one sip of Mountain Dew, and it was like heaven. It was like dew from heaven.
Amazing. So they get there, and immediately there's some strategies starting. Colby doesn't want to ruffle any feathers. Jeff is seeing people going off from the Ogakor tribe, so he knows it's going to be game on. There's not really much apart from that on like what's actually going on, but we know there's some strategy talk. We head into the immunity challenge, and it is the classic endurance challenge. So all 10 contestants are standing on little poles in the river, and it's who can hang on the longest. So what are your thoughts on this challenge, Sam?
I mean, it was incredible. I mean, I love an endurance challenge because it's always wild. You know, like you never know who's in it to win it until you get to an endurance challenge. And what was interesting to me is Ogakor was strategizing early on. Colby jumps early to try and pull attention.
Yes, he jumps right off, and so does Nick. But I mean, Nick's been kind of living rent free from the beginning, so we knew that was coming.
Roger bails for food. Understandable. Roger's not beating anyone at this. Colby straight up convinces Varner to jump.
Yes,
He's
for
like,
peanut butter.
come on over here. I got my Texas nipples.
Here's my thing though, like with why would Varner jump off when he has votes against him? What a loon. Why
Stupid.
would you do that? Like
Stupid.
it's, and you know, I still love Varner and I think he played somewhat of a good game, but at this point he just ruined his game for peanut butter. Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah. I mean, Jerry jumps off for hot fudge, which, like, for the amount that she's been talking about hot fudge, okay, girl, get it.
And Elizabeth chooses not to jump off for peanut butter and chocolate. She says, Elizabeth, keep your mouth shut. Do I listen? No.
But so, I mean, we lose all of the guys early on in this challenge. The girls are the ones who go past dark.
Well, and Keith does stay.
Oh yeah, two girls and a guy.
Can I also mention another Tina one-liner is when Jeff Probst is coming down with the peanut butter, you get a classic Tina line. She's like, what you got there, buddy?
I mean, this challenge they were up there for like 10 and a half hours.
Yeah, they were there over 10 hours. Elizabeth got down for a boat ride around 10 hours. And it's really, we are left with Alicia, Tina, and Jeff. I don't really know why Tina was up there. Maybe she was just like doing it for her family. Alicia was up there, I think, because I think she was scared and really wanted to make the merge. And she's a competitor. She's a beast. We've seen it, you know. She doesn't want to wag her finger in anyone's face any longer. So, you know, we know Alicia. But at the end of the day, Alicia does get down, and it leads us for Keith and Tina. And Keith looks at Tina and he's like, I need this. Keith has votes against him. Tina does not. So in case of a tie, Tina knows they're not coming after her. Like, let's get real. So at the end of the day, Tina makes a big decision to get down and let Keith win the first individual immunity challenge, which I think was a good move for Tina. I really do, because it really gains more trust in Keith and it doesn't make her look like as much of a threat. What are your thoughts?
I would argue that this is one of the earliest instances of someone making a calculated jury decision. Because if you are the one who decides that someone else wins an immunity challenge and they're not sitting in the final two with you, you have their vote.
Oh,
you have their vote.
100%.
You gave them that moment. And that's you gave them safety for a week. Such a move. And it was, I mean, yes, I'm sure it was because Tina's also a nice person. She knows she's safe. You know, there are other reasons, but she's played a very calculated game so far that hides under that whole, you know, cute little lady facade. I loved it. I thought it was a vicious move.
Oh, for sure. I thought it was great. Good job on Tina's end. I think Tina is a mastermind, and I think that she's underrated. I don't think Tina gets enough credit in today's Survivor world as she deserves, and I would love to see her again. I'm actually kind of sad she wasn't invited back for Winners at War because I think she deserved a spot.
Yeah.
Especially over some of the other people, but
Spoiler
we
alert.
won't say specifics. Definitely
So,
not. Definitely not Mish, though. I do love my Mish. I will say it out there. I will always stand for Queen Michelle, but that's later seasons, so you know.
okay, so
All
now
right.
we get into
Tribal Council. They don't even have time to strategize. They go right from the immunity challenge right to Tribal Council, where it comes down to Ogakor versus Kucha. It comes down to a 5 versus 5 deadlock. We get the 5 Ogakors voting for Jeff Varner, and we get the 5 Kuchas voting for Colby. We got a vote confessional from Jeff because everything's bigger and better in Texas. It was funny, Jeff, but 5 votes against you, buddy. It comes down to a deadlock. And because of Jeff's past vote, and because of apparently Kimmy Kappenberg's mouth, which we love you, Kimmy, Jeff Varner takes a hike and is the last pre-juror. He's the merge boot. What are your thoughts on Jeff leaving right before the jury?
I think that he and the rest of Kucha have no one to blame but themselves. What a terrible decision to go after Colby. Here's the reason why. In a season where your tiebreaker did not depend on previous votes, Colby's the perfect choice. Because even if somehow, he has to get into some sort of, there's still a chance that he could get eliminated in those seasons. In this season, you don't know if he has votes cast against him or not. You need to find out who has votes cast against them.
And didn't they realize Jerry did? Like, why didn't they vote Jerry? They all hated her.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
It's shocking. And they all feel stupid afterwards, and they should. Why in the world would you pick Colby? Everyone loves him.
So because they think he had votes cast against me. It's just weird. Apparently, there was some strategy talk that Colby was trying to get them to think that he had votes against him, but it doesn't make sense to me. He's so well liked and the strongest member of their tribe. Why would he have votes cast against him?
Yeah.
To me, even looking at them face value, I would assume it's Jerry or Keith. That's who I would think.
And the wild part about all of it is that, okay, so Colby, I would say, if I were in that situation, Colby probably doesn't have votes. Tina probably doesn't have votes. Amber may or may not have votes.
Yeah.
But then you've got Jerry and Keith, who just both have a better chance of having votes cast against them. Keith gets immunity. Like, Jerry becomes the only choice.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, it was Jeff Varner that took the heat. So, hey, bye, Jeff. See you later. On to episode 8. All right. So Jeff has just been voted out. Roger feels like a fool for Jeff leaving. Alicia knows Kucha is screwed. They will see us all as jurors because she knows that Kucha is probably going to be extinct and they're probably going to be pagonged and taken out one by one. We'll see if that actually happens, though.
Do you know what's kind of funny to me about Roger and Elizabeth? Yeah. Is that I feel like they are the sort of duo that, like, they make, regardless of what tribe they started on, they would have made it to the point that they made it.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Like, they're just that duo,
They're that duo. But it's hard. It's hard. And it's the last, our guest that we had yesterday and also our guest for our next episode, both were asking me the same question on my thoughts on Elizabeth because of her time on The View. And they're like, what are your thoughts with it? And I said, I'm trying to make a difference here in regards to it and say Elizabeth from Survivor is different from Elizabeth, who was on The View. So Elizabeth on Survivor, yes, no problem. But if Elizabeth from The View was on this show, she'd be the first out.
And this is wild to me because normally I'm really up to date on pop culture, but I am not familiar with Elizabeth Hasselbeck from The View. I know it. I know her time there only by sort of like loose association. And so I cannot look her up and watch this until after we are finished covering this season.
I very, very much agree. You're going to be coming to the finale. So our finale, Sam will be there as well, guys. So that's going to be exciting. So after we do the finale, then we'll watch Elizabeth and get your live reaction.
Sure will.
Here we go. All right, so there's more camp drama. Jerry's just being a bitch around camp. She's just having a full Jerry meltdown. She's hangry. She needs a sandwich. Hunger's the problem. Tina, rice has to be cooked to Jerry's specifications. Elizabeth notices Jerry is being a bitch to her. She's trying to make the rice, and she's being eyed down by Amber and Jerry to make sure it's perfected.
One of my favorite moments that came out of that was Keith saying, I have literally cooked for presidents, and I have never been nervous. And right. Having Jerry watch him cook rice makes him nervous.
It's mushy. She's horrible, but I love her. And Elizabeth's like, I felt as though I was under a magnifying lens. And another Tina, that's a good idea, because she is over Jerry Manthe. Every episode, Tina just gets more and more and more over Jerry. It's great. It's great watching Tina pretend to be nice to her and just
so much fun.
In the face. It's incredible.
So much fun.
But with that said, Elizabeth and Roger now see a chance for them, an opportunity to get into the Ogakor group by maybe targeting Jerry. They're really seeing it. So Elizabeth to Alicia and Roger, she's telling him to pay attention to Jerry and Tina. Alicia's like, Jerry and Keith. So Jerry, they know, is having tension with everybody. So they know what's coming. What are your thoughts, Sam?
I don't know. There's not a lot of movement here yet. Like, I'm just not seeing nothing too exciting. I think pretty standard.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think it's definitely a storyline, at least, that now Jerry could be a target again. So now you have the Cooches onto her. So with Tina hating her and Keith hating her, I definitely think it's setting up for a Jerry elimination down the line. We'll see if it happens this episode. Could happen next. It's going to happen eventually. There's no way. So
yeah, I think it's kind of cool that, like, how do I feel about this? I feel like it's weird that Elizabeth is like the only one that we're getting like her opinion on this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, someone is always sort of like the social player of the season. And to a degree, Elizabeth is one of the strongest social players this season. It helps that she's very pretty and like looks like Bambi. You know, so like, I don't know. I feel like she can just sort of like doe-eyed walk through and just like watch stuff happen.
Right.
No one really cares. So like, cool, whatever. She gets to be social queen this season. It literally doesn't super help anyone yet, but maybe down the line.
Hey, maybe in the next episode. You never know. All right. Well, next is the reward challenge. And this is like something really cool to me. It's not like one of my favorite challenges, but it's a boomerang toss. And I have always wanted to throw a boomerang. So basically, they get to throw a boomerang, and whoever gets closest to the center, they draw like a big bullseye in the sand. Closest to the center wins. It's the full meal reward that Jenna Lewis won and Colleen won last season. And it's always fun. I always have wanted to do the boomerang, and the winner is no one other than Jerry Manthe.
She's had a taste of like delicious food, and she can't stop. Like, Jerry needs to be fed now.
And she really also wants to give Amber some more screen time, and we need to get Amber doing our favorite line. Oh my God, it's so good! Oh my God!
Oh my God, it's so good.
The only thing we know about Amber is that she knows that food is good and she likes to eat, apparently. So Jerry picks Amber. They go, they get their reward. It's a full, like, nice meal. And it's strategy central. Sam, tell us about what they're talking about.
I mean, they're really talking about final twos, you know? They're talking about people pairing up. They're talking strategy. And I actually, but also to a degree, they're like, we just sort of want to be here and eat this meal. I wonder what everyone's doing back at camp. And more significantly, back at camp, everyone hates them.
Yes. So Jerry, everyone's hating on her. And Elizabeth and Roger seem like, wow, everyone's talking crap about Jerry. Jerry's not here necessarily. Maybe we can work our way in on that, you know? It's funny how on the reward, Jerry and Amber are talking about we need Colby as our final 3 to bring with us. And you got Colby being like, Jerry doesn't deserve to win this thing because of the way she treats people around her. So Colby is playing Jerry hard, and it's so much fun to watch.
I loved watching him just lie to her face.
Yes.
I mean, I was like, Jerry, no, don't trust him.
I know, yeah.
But also, Colby's playing a great game. Colby's and Colby hates her. He hates her. I mean, play the game, Colby, play the game. But like when Jerry's like worried she's gonna go home, and Colby says, "Don't lose sleep over it," and I'm just like,
amazing, yeah. Because Jerry and Amber, they get back from the reward. They have this conversation with Colby at night where they're like making him confirm to the final 3, and he's like, "Because I was lying to Jerry, I didn't lose sleep over it." Amazing. It was incredible. And Colby lying is just set it up that Jerry is going to be going home probably soon. If this boot, if not the next one. So it's definitely good. We get to our next immunity challenge, and this is the rope square challenge. So basically everyone has little circles, and it's kind of like the dots game. If you've ever remembered dots before. So you get to connect one at a time, and once you have a box, you get a point. You can lay your little circle down with your name on it. And sometimes, depending on how it works, you can go on a run and have multiple squares. Mm-hmm. So it's really anyone's game, but it's kind of strategic how you're placing them. And
so, so if you complete a box, you get to lay another rope after that one.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, there's some people that go on some runs, but once again, you have Keith Famey winning it for a second time. He's the one that's like the immunity beast. I thought Colby would have won everything, but
yeah, but let's be real. We haven't had any super physical. I mean, the first challenge, Colby very well could have won, but was, you know, drawing the aim to himself, making himself a target. And this one, though, really came down to luck. And what I was really surprised about is how they cycled the 2 tribes, or really, you know, like how I know they're merged now, but the members of the previous tribes, you got all Kucha and then all Ogakor. And the problem with that is that it distinctly set up Ogakor, I felt, to win. Someone from Ogakor to win.
Yeah. I definitely did. I think because Ogakor had more numbers going into it, so they were maybe setting it up for Keith, which makes it hard to believe that Jerry would set it up for Keith to win. But hey, you never know.
Mm-hmm. But like when it's someone who's technically in your alliance, you know, like right off the boat.
Very true. I like that take on that. It's definitely good. But yeah, Keith won. It would have been actually cool for me to, I feel like it would be more fun if Jerry won it, but hey, whatever. Would have loved it if more storyline. All right. Well, honestly, we get a little rainstorm before Tribal. Alicia's like, Nick and I feel it's going to be one of us because they're the strongest members of the tribe. Elizabeth's in denial, and she thinks Jerry's going home because, you know, Tina's told her we're going to do it. So Elizabeth has that delusion of let's go for Jerry hardcore. Let's get these votes in. And Elizabeth is, you know, she gets cranky when she's hungry, and it's bumming me out a little. So they get to Tribal. Elizabeth's ready.
One thing before Tribal, something that was wild to me is that we never actually see anyone asking Tina or Keith to assist them. You know, like no one's actually asking them to vote for Jerry. No one is sharing that plan.
You're right. But it's weird though. Do you think that maybe there was and they didn't show it in the episode because like Elizabeth's so convinced that they're going to do it?
But it's early seasons and it's Elizabeth who's not been shown to be like a real strong like player, more of an observer. Right. So I think they were just sort of hoping that, I mean, I could see that as being a likely outcome, that they were just hoping that Tina or Keith would vote for Jerry.
Yeah, exactly.
And banking on that.
Yeah. Well, it comes down, it's a 4-5 vote. They put their 4 votes on Jerry, and the 5 Ogakors unfortunately come after Miss Finger Waving Alicia Calloway, the Beast. Alicia Calloway is the first member of the jury. See you later.
Bye-bye.
I'm not upset about it. Honestly, I'm not a big Alicia fan. I don't really stand for Alicia.
I mean, yeah, she was fine.
She was mean to our Kimmy, and I don't like that.
I don't know. Alicia's fine. She's not like enough of a character to be like, oh darn. You know, she was the correct target. She was the biggest physical threat.
Oh, definitely. I agree. I'm kind of like, she really wasn't bringing that much. Honestly, yes, she had that fight with Kimmy pre-merge, but like, I mean, what if she won the game? No, I don't think she would have won the game. I think if Kucha would have dominated, she would have gotten like fourth or third, honestly.
Yeah. I think Jeff ruined her chances. That was her partner.
100%.
And when your final two person goes, you're exposed.
Oh, no question. That's exactly what I was saying. All right, well, that concludes the 2 episodes. Now we're going to get into our tops, bottoms, and Hot Mess Express for the round. Yes. All right, so Sam, tell me who your top player for the episodes were.
My top player for these 2 episodes, it has to be Keith, right? Okay. No, do you know what? I'm going to scale that back. Keith won the immunity challenges and would be the obvious choice. I'm going to say Colby. Colby, because he is clearly the one organizing strategy with the former members of Ogakor, or the members of the former Ogakor. Even at the merge feast, it was commented on that he was pulling people aside, not like 10 minutes after they got food, and just like, making sure that they knew who they were targeting, what was going on. Colby's a great choice.
I really like that. I think Colby's a good one. I personally said Tina, and I think it's most people are saying Tina and Colby every round because it really goes back and forth. And I think these 2 rounds are really Tina. I think she's well liked on the tribe. No one's after her. No one is questioning her at all. She's gotten herself in a good spot. All the Kuchas really like her the most too. Elizabeth feels really comfortable with her, thinks of her as like a mom figure. She's not a threat, and I think she's playing a fantastic social game. And it's really under the radar, but it's really good. And it's cutthroat too.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
For sure. What about your bottom player?
My bottom player would have to be Jeff Varner. You were in such a good spot and you gave it up for peanut butter and you couldn't figure out who the most vulnerable member. If they had voted for Jerry would have gone home. Like, Jeff Varner, you literally ruined this for yourself. And you gave it up for peanut butter.
I'm okay with it, though, because that means Jerry made the jury, and we got to see her the whole season.
I love it. I love that we get to watch Jerry, but like...
Oh, for sure. But I agree. I'm actually going to agree with you. I also chose Varner as my bottom player. It's cockiness leads to downfall. He was so cocky, and they thought they had this, and he thought he was making it to the end with this pale Alicia. No. And then he decides to jump off for the peanut butter. Done. So that was just messy gameplay. Varner, bottom player. Last, we have our Hot Mess Express. I'm going to give mine first, Sam. It's obvious. Queen Jerry is the Hot Mess Express. Just being miserable to everybody, causing drama. She's not supposed to be talking crap about Keith when the visitors are there, and she still is. It's just, I don't think she's aware of her surroundings. Delusion is grandeur. Like, Jerry Manthe, hot mess. Who's yours?
My hot mess for the week is Amber. Girl, where is your personality? Where is your airtime? Where is anything unique about you? You are like a neutral gray jello at room temperature. You are literally the blandest imaginable human being. What's going on? I don't know. Nothing. It's just like, so good. Like, can't is not a tagline,
She might get her tagline in future seasons, though.
She might.
No,
but you know what? At this early season, I have no hope for Amber.
I don't understand how she was an all-star. I just don't get her. She's probably like a 10th alternate.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Really though, like, nothing she has done this season is of note. Like, literally nothing. She has 0 moments.
I think Sonia from season 1 had better one-liners than Amber did. Come on.
Deb
Eaton.
Deb Eaton
could have been on All Stars, or or Kimmy. Anybody could have been.
Anyone.
Anyway, Now on to that. We have our hot messes done. We are going to get into our game for today. It is titled, What Would Jerry Do?
Oh my gosh, WWJD.
I know, Sam. This is going to be fun because, our star of Australian Outback is none other than Queen Jerry Manthey herself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a scenario and you're going to act it out as Jerry and give me what you think, how she would react to the situation. Okay? All right. Are you ready for our first one?
Yeah, I'm feeling my fantasy. My
Jerry. All right, come on, Jerry Manthey. Let's go. All right. How would Jerry react to the situation with Colby not giving her enough attention?
Well, I think it's really fucked up, actually, that he's not giving me attention. I want Colby like I want hot fudge. They say that hot fudge is close to sex, and I want sex and hot fudge with Colby.
Amazing. You just want to pour it all over that hot dude's bod.
Oh, I want to pour it on his nipples. I want to lick his areola so much.
And on to the next one.
Okay.
We are going for PG-13 here, honey. We don't want to make it R.
PG-13.
So, All right. Second one. Okay. So how would Jerry react to someone on the tribe spilling all the dough to make Jerry's tortillas?
A few moments later in an interview, I heard that he did it on purpose because he smuggled in beef jerky.
Amazing. Classic. All right, Sam, next one. Jerry just caught Keith eating a McRib in the woods at camp.
Oh my God, Keith, think of the tribe. Think of the tribe, Keith. I'm telling Colby.
Last one. Nick just broke Jerry's bongo.
It was my luxury item, and it's not fair. It's not fair. He gets to keep his luxury item, and I don't get to keep my bongo.
Amazing. Bringing in some all-stars, Jerry, over there. Mm-hmm. It's not worth it. Oh, amazing. And with that, that concludes our episode for today. If you guys want, you can catch me on Twitter and Instagram at Mendels8. And Sam, give your shout outs as well.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook at Sam Meier Comedy.
Perfect. You can catch the Couch Potato Queens. Follow us on Twitter at Couch Potato Queens. It's Couch Potato QWNZ. You can add us on our Facebook group, which is the Couch Potato Queens podcast. We are becoming a network, everybody. We have a Bravo podcast coming up. We have Drag Race that Sam is doing with myself and Alex. We have a Bachelor podcast. We have all these different things we're going to be doing. So definitely check us out. And Sam, send us out.
Okay, Josh, as always, you know that we have to outwit, outlast,
and outgay Henny. Take care, guys.